Hello, human body systems. So now we are working on part 3, and we get to do some group work today. Yay! So make sure all of your group member names are placed on the slide, and that even though you're working as a group, you must submit all your notebooks individually. Everyone has to submit their notebook. So you can use the same diagram and just paste it in all your notebooks, but you gotta turn in those notebooks for me to grade them, okay? So again, we are doing activity 1.2.1, the identity of your mannequin. And remember that if we see this distance learning link, we click it, and that's where we're gonna start. So today we're going to be doing step 2. You're gonna be using a diagramming tool to create a concept map for human tissue. Now you don't have to use the diagramming tool. You can make this diagram as however you want. There are some neat diagramming tools such as, oh, give me a second. Lucidchart is pretty good for just diagramming and flow charting. I mean, you do have to sign up for it, but it's free. But you don't have to use that if you don't want to, because it can get kind of convoluted, I guess. And so I guess I'm just gonna take a look around. I would go to templates, maybe using like, I wouldn't use these very specific ones, but I would probably use maybe like system diagrams, a system diagram. Hopefully there's a blank one. But like I said, it can be kind of convoluted. The simplest way for me is to, okay, so for example, our first word in 2A that we need to include in our diagram is tissues. And we're talking about all sorts of tissues. So that would include pretty much everything on this list, right? So I would draw just a big circle and then a text box and then just name it tissues. And then, of course, just like your previous assignment, you got the epithelial tissue, the connective tissue, the muscle tissue, the nervous tissue, right? So then, I'd create a different shape. I'd create a different shape and say, oh, this is the epithelial tissue, and so on. And then whatever's left, like which type of tissue does it belong to? Okay, so basically the tissues is what we're talking about. It's the overarching theme. You don't have to do it like this. You could start with tissues in the middle, and then it radiates out to the little epithelial tissue boxes, and then that there you can have arrows radiating out from the epithelial tissue boxes to their respective um, to the respective vocabulary words that belong to epithelial tissue. There's a lot of ways you can do it. So just, get creative, and it will work out for you, promise. So, and if you need help, obviously, obviously, I am in the conference to help you. That's why I'm there, not just to take attendance, but to answer your questions. Now, part B says you need to add images or photograph to your concept map to help reinforce your words. So I want at least one image from one thing that belongs to each type of tissue, right? So I want a picture of whatever belongs in the nervous tissue. I want a picture of whatever belongs in the muscle tissue, or the connective tissue, or the epithelial tissue, etc. So just one example of each type of tissue. C, for the 4 main categories, assign one word that summarizes the role or function of this type of tissue and that it plays in the body. Using a different color, write this word in, assign one word, okay? Okay, hold on, I'm reading 6 and trying to figure out this note here. Oh, okay. Okay. So assign one word that summarizes the role or function of this type of tissue that plays in the body. So a good way to do that is to go back up to part 2 and pick an action word, like a verb word that best describes what that tissue does, and put it in a different color, like red or blue, something obvious, and put it next to that main tissue. So either one for epithelial tissue, one for connective tissue, one for muscle tissue, one for nervous tissue, okay? So we need an action word for each of those 4 tissues. And then D, find a logical place for the words bone, skeletal muscle, and fat or adipose tissue on your concept map and add them to your organizer. So that means you're gonna have to go into the internet and you're gonna have to try and find, you're gonna have to try and find where, which type of tissue bones are made of, that skeletal muscles are made of, and fat or adipose tissue is made of, and place it in your organizer. Okay? And that is it. I mean, it might take you a while, but you're working in groups, so hopefully it'll go fairly well. The group work instructions, each student in the group, you have a maximum of 4 students per group, must develop a concept map as instructed. On the next slide, enter all of your group members' names above the concept mapped image and then paste your concept map below the names. All group members' notebooks must paste their concept map in their notebook, and you may do the concept map together, but you must submit notebooks individually. I just wanted to reiterate that. And you don't have to use a Google Slide. You can use that whiteboard app that I showed you. You can draw on that. There's another site called aggie.io that it doesn't have a chat function, which is why I like the whiteboard better. But you're more than welcome to use whatever tool you want at your disposal to work on this. And just make sure that all your group member names are in there and you copy and paste the concept map. Make sure it fits onto the slide. please, so I can see the whole thing. Even if you have to shrink it, I can zoom in. It's not a problem. Even if you have to shrink it, just make sure, because when you download it as a PDF and it's outside of the slide borders, I won't be able to see that part. So just make it fit, squeeze it in there. All right. And you guys will see me again on Friday. Bye.